Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you once again for attending this afternoon's media conference at such short notice. I have with me this afternoon Air Commodore Darryl, or Chief of Defence Staff of the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force. As the Honourable Prime Minister would have announced to the nation yesterday, the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago took certain decisions with respect to our assistance, the assistance that we, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, can offer through the government of Trinidad and Tobago to our brothers and sisters in the Bahamas who have suffered the devastating effects of Hurricane Dorian in the last few days. As you all are aware, and as the international media have been covering, certain islands in the Bahamian chain have suffered the most devastating of effects, and there's tremendous loss on the ground that is currently being assessed. So at this stage, the assessment process is still taking place. Our Honourable Prime Minister, Dr. Rowley, has been in communication with the Prime Minister of Bahamas, and he had pledged certain things which Cabinet had agreed to, including in that, and the Prime Minister said yesterday at post-Cabinet press conference that here on in, the Ministry of National Security would be taking the lead in carrying out the provision of our humanitarian assistance to our brothers and sisters in Bahamas. So I'm happy to say that just under or just about 24 hours later, we are here today to tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the wider community, including the international community, we've already corresponded and communicated with Bahamas as to what the effects are, what our plans and our logistical arrangements are with respect to the assistance for the Bahamas. 100 of our troops from the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force will be proceeding to Nassau, Bahamas on Sunday. The Chief of Defence Staff and myself will accompany those troops. We have spoken to CAL, and we're chartering a CAL 737 plane that will leave on Sunday morning at approximately 11 a.m. So we're looking at under 72 hours. I think it's close to 40 hours, just under about 40 hours. We will be proceeding to the Bahamas with 100 of our troops from the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force. Those troops, the CDS will get into the composition of those troops. Our Chief of Defence Staff has been in communication and contact with the Chief of Defence Staff of the Bahamian Defence Force. I had also spoken 2 days ago to the Minister of National Security in Jamaica to find out what Jamaica were doing and to tell him that we would be considering what we are doing, and I intend to follow up with that conversation with Dr. Chang, Horace Chang, the Minister of National Security in Jamaica. At the time, he told me Jamaica were deploying 120 of their Jamaican Defence Force. We are proceeding to Nassau on Sunday, as I said, departing Trinidad and Tobago at around 11 a.m. in the morning, taking 100 of our troops up to Nassau, Bahamas. Chief of Defence Staff has been in contact with his counterpart in the Bahamian Defence Force. We are going to be taking persons to assist in public order, to make sure that there's public order maintained on the ground in Bahamas, and in particular the islands that are affected, some engineers and some medics. We are also trying as best as we can to have as much self-sustaining ability initially. So we're going to be carrying on our own plane as much supplies for our troops as possible. I have also been in contact with Minister LaHunt, the Public Utilities Minister. We've been speaking since yesterday. Today we took a decision that in addition to the TNTEC crew, there had been an outreach to WASA, our Water and Sewerage Authority, by the Bahamian equivalent, asking for some engineering assistance. We are also going to include that. At this stage, it is premature for us to take the TNTEC crew and the WASA engineer or engineers with us on Sunday, because as you well imagine, and as you're seeing in the international media reports, right now there's still an assessment taking place. And the islands that were hardest hit, that there's been complete devastation, there is there has not even been a proper assessment as yet. So to take persons to sit on the ground and wait in Nassau in the Bahamas doesn't make sense at this stage. We will get our boots on the ground, our troops on the ground, who will be able to provide us with further information, but more importantly, provide support to the people of Bahamas. The Minister of Finance I've been in communication with to assist and to provide us with the support that we need to make this outreach a reality. In the first instance, we're going for 30 days. That is the time that we've told Bahamas we'll have our troops there for, 30 days. And I'd like at this stage to thank Caribbean Airlines because they have very graciously and generously said that they will not charge me, Ministry of National Security, for the charter of the plane to and from the Bahamas on Sunday, but we have to pay for the fuel for the return from Bahamas. National Petroleum have also been very generous, and they are saying that their corporate citizenship, sponsorship, their assistance in this program is they will provide the plane with the fuel to go to the Bahamas. So National Security will pick up the tab for the fuel to return from the Bahamas on Sunday. It's going to be a turnaround trip. We expect to be on the ground for an hour as our troops offload. At that stage, I will see who I can meet in the Bahamian government to pledge the support of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sure that our Chief of Defence Staff will also have the opportunity to meet with the Chief of Defence Staff from the Bahamian Defence Force. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and the wider outreach, those are current plans. We're working full speed ahead. I can say that there's been some corporate assistance as well. So, for example, today I spoke to the Bermudez group, and they have agreed to assist our troops with providing as much supplies as we can take for our troops to have sustenance when they're there. You would imagine the types of supplies we need to take are fairly long-lasting supplies and not supplies that would be susceptible to spoilage within a couple of days. I have here with me this afternoon as well the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of National Security, who's providing the technocrat support at the ministry to make this a reality, but also our newly minted and appointed CEO of the ODPM in Trinidad and Tobago, someone we're very familiar with, a former Chief of Defence Staff, Major General Rodney Smart. As you all are aware, the ODPM has been trying to corral and make arrangements as well, because there's been an outpouring of support by the private sector in Trinidad and Tobago and our citizens. We have a number of collection points that the ODPM has not approved, but is working in close collaboration with to provide whatever logistical support they can. So ODPM has put out into the public domain, and I understand there was a press conference this morning or media release this morning where they've again confirmed the collection points for citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who want to support and provide goods that Bahamians have asked for, certain and specific goods, food items, non-perishable, etc. That has been coordinated by the ODPM for us as well. So at this stage, I'd like to turn it over to Air Commodore Darryl Daniel, our Chief of Defence Staff, for him to give us more specifics of what the Defence Force personnel complement is going to consist of.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, the public of Trinidad and Tobago, good afternoon. I have been in contact with the Chief of Defence Staff of Bahamas, and I'm aware, based on that conversation, of the requirements that they need right now. The 100 troops that we'll be sending has a breakdown of medics, engineer personnel, and regular service personnel. The duties we'll be performing is humanitarian aid and disaster relief operations, internal security operations, as the Minister would have highlighted, to secure the area and make sure that it's safe for people as they go about trying to restore normality, and sustainable operations where we put things in place to sustain our troops on the ground and the other troops that we will meet in the area. This is something we have gathered some experience over the years, Grenada in the past, last year in Dominica, so it's something that we are used to in terms of helping our fellow citizens in CARICOM. That would provide further assistance. Jamaica is also going to be sending some of its troops, so there'll be at least 2 Caribbean countries there on the ground, and others will join as the need arises and the requirements are made known to assist our brothers and sisters in Bahamas. It is something, as I said, we are used to, and there are other international partners that are on the ground that will come to our aid. So you'll find the military will get on the ground and do what we can do to assist the citizenry of Bahamas to get back to some level of settlement. Normalcy will be some time away based on the challenges that you would have seen on the media pictures. It is very challenging, and it would be emotional at times when you see the devastation that has taken place. As I said, we've had the experience in the past and just recently in Dominica, so we would represent Trinidad and Tobago well and make you proud as the citizens. Thank you.
So citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the media, we expect to launch, meaning leave Trinidad and Tobago in the next 43 hours to make our way to Bahamas to offer the government's assistance in the form of 100 of our men and women from the Defense Force to assist them in their time of need. I'd like to thank all Trinidadians for your continued outpouring of support, your continued willingness to step up at times of need for our CARICOM brothers and sisters. That is something that we must never lose as a nation, because God forbid one day it could be our turn to also rely on the assistance of our CARICOM brothers and sisters. And I have to say, as an individual and as a citizen of this country, it always brings a warmth to my heart when I see the positiveness and the positivity of our citizens in being willing to step forward, even in times when we are not overflowing with our own financial circumstances, etc. So, as you know, we'd also be offering as a government $500,000 to get that to the government of Bahamas to help them and to assist them in their time. And as I said, we'd be sending a specialist crew that has done this before from TNTech, as well as some officers, engineers, or at least one from WASA, to assist them with their water and sewage as well. We'll take a few questions at this stage if you all have any.
Good day, sir. Shane Zubovill from the Newsday newspaper here. In addition to the 100-strong team of defense soldiers you all will be sending, will you all be sending any heavy equipment from the Army Engineer Corps?
Not on this occasion. I mean, it can't fit on a CAL plane, and also because of the distance from here to the Bahamas, it's not practical for us to use any of our Coast Guard vessels to take any supplies. So at this stage is really what we can take on the plane and to assist them when we get there with what they can provide. But it is impractical for us to send any heavy equipment.
If I may add, Minister, in addition to that, Nassau has not been hit, and some of the major islands in Bahamas. So you find those facilities are available. So we'll be utilizing what is available to go to the islands that have been affected, as compared to Dominica, where there's devastation on the whole island. So we had to send up those kind of equipment to assist them.
Peter Christopher from Trinidad Guardian Media. During the post-cabinet press briefing, the Prime Minister mentioned that technicians from TNTech would also be going to the Bahamas. Would they be in along with that flight on Sunday?
Mr. Christopher, I assume you weren't here at the start. The answer is no. At this stage is still premature. So they are on standby, but we took a decision that it didn't make sense carrying our personnel because, of course, there's a cost associated with having our personnel on the ground in the Bahamas, as you would imagine. So at this stage, until a proper assessment has been done, we didn't see it fit to send the crews. There's 7 personnel at this stage from TNTech and 1 or 2 officers, engineers from WASA to take them up with us on Sunday for them just to be on standby and waiting. As soon as they're ready for them and they can play a role and have work to do up there that is effective work, they will make their way there. But it at this stage is not envisaged that they be there with us on Sunday. Yes? Just...
Yolanda Thomas from Line Saba.
Hi, often.
Minister, I wanted to find out if there are any nationals that have been affected by the passage of Hurricane Darryl?
The answer is no. I spoke to our Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs this morning, Minister Moses, to tell him, Minister Moses, the CDS and I are going up with the troops on Sunday. So if there are any of our nationals that need to come home, we will be able to bring them home. He then reached out to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Bahamas. At this stage, the answer is no. At this stage, we have none of our nationals who are affected that we are aware of. But if that changes between now and Sunday and they want to come home, we will bring them home. But the answer at this stage is no.
And with respect to the 100 persons, soldiers, can you say whether they would be paid extra for these duties?
First of all, I like just clarify, it is not only persons from the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment. We're sending from the Air Guard as well as our Coast Guard as well. And the answer is yes, once they're out of the jurisdiction, they do receive some sort of per diem and some sort of additional pay for being out of the jurisdiction.
Good afternoon, Karen Kuzier-Phillip, TTT News. I'm just wondering what percentage of our armed forces is the 100 men? Is it a third? Is it a half? What is the manpower?
Very far from a third and a half. We have more than 200 persons in our Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force.
We have 5,000 plus in the Defence Force. So 100 is a drop in the bucket. But it's special skills that we're sending to meet the required needs.
All right. You mentioned that you would have to pay for the fuel for the return trip. Do you have any kind of cost with regard to that?
I don't have a costing for the fuel on the return trip as yet, no. All right. Yes, go ahead.
Would the media be allowed to know this?
Because of the circumstances and the fact that it is the Defence Force that we're taking up and it's 100 troops and we will be carrying some of the equipment, etc. Unfortunately, not on this trip. All right. Thank you all very much, members of the media. I appreciate you all coming out on a Friday afternoon. Thank you.